Hi, I believe that this works. What's up? Welcome to my crib. Um, so sobriety. I wanted to make a video on getting sober. I already recorded one. I'm having a really hard time with my YouTube channel. I'm having a hard time with videos. I'm gonna try to do the dishes because I feel like I have to do something. Um, and I'm sorry if we're doing like a boob reveal, just imagine I'm a man with huge tits. This binder doesn't do a lot for me, but I kind of like how my arms look. So we're just gonna rock with that for now. And I'm really not gonna try to take up a lot of your time. I just wanted to honor that this passing Monday I hit a year of sobriety. That's big, apparently. It is big. I feel like a robot sometimes, like a bit of a sociopath, because a lot of shit to me is just a fart in the wind. I made 3 years on testosterone this passing December. Did I remember? No, not until the next month. As for the sobriety, I recognize that I'm not really good at paying attention to dates. And I wanted to change that because, 3 years on testosterone, that's pretty big. Or 1 year of sobriety. Being that I was an alcoholic for 5 years, that's really big too. So, um, I'm trying to do better with giving myself the recognition that I probably deserve, that I don't really be giving myself because I feel very apathetic to a lot of things and like a robot. And honestly, today I had a bit of a thought or like an epiphany of like, maybe this is just what being balanced feels like. Like, surely you don't know that. And I'm gonna try to put this low so that I could do the dishes while I'm talking. But I had a thought like, your entire life has been a series of severe highs and lows, big boy. Maybe this is just a matter of the balance that you have lacked, So I'm trying not to call myself a robot either, but it's just hard when you you don't feel a lot of things most of the time. So, anyways, sobriety. I figured we would talk a little bit about it. I feel a lot more comfortable now than I did for the last video I attempted to record. And I made like a bullet list that is kind of ripe in my mind that I'm going to try to go off of while we're here, and I'll get my phone at some point. But I had a thought the other day where I like applied to be a part of the like they're doing a Fallout reality TV show or some bullshit, and I just be going on side quests. So I was like, let me just apply. If I don't go, I don't go. Or maybe it'll be an adventure of a lifetime. So, anyways, I was sitting in my crib and I was dancing and working on the comic, and I said, please, Lord, let this work. And then I said, no, you know what, Lord? Whatever is the path that I'm supposed to go down, put me down that path. Guide me down that path. Whatever it's supposed to be, whatever the plan is, lead me to it, because I just feel like in life, sometimes we have expectations for where we're going to be or the things that we're going to do, whether it's because we signed up to be a part of something or we applied to school and we got accepted. And it doesn't always pan out the way that we're expecting, but where you end up may be so much more pleasant um, than what you were originally imagining, because we would never know what the alternate universe would have been if I ended up sinking myself hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to go to the School of Visual Arts because they accepted me. I don't know what that alternate universe looks like, but honestly, I'm really happy with my life right now. And that sounds like it would have been asked, to be honest. You pay how much fucking money? You pay like fucking 100K a semester just to connect, just to connect with motherfucker, just to try to make connections in New York City. And I love education, but education is a privilege. And what do I look like spending $100,000 when I could go pick up a fucking book? The fuck? Them fucking how to make comics books. Anyways, I'm getting really, really off topic. A year ago, definitely would not have imagined that my life is where it is today by any stretch of the imagination. But to be honest, my years of being an alcoholic, I thought that I would be an alcoholic forever. I was one of them people who kind of had it like as a character trait that I could handle my liquor and I was a fun time. Now, things happen, right? Bad things happen. I feel the way that I describe it is that out of the 60 days that you're drinking, let's bump up those numbers. Let's say you're drinking every day for 100 days, which is easy what I was doing. I'm pretty sure my last couple of years of drinking was like year streaks that I did not break. And so, damn, I don't remember what the fuck where I was going with that. I was talking about the streaks. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I was hoping that that wouldn't happen. Well, alcoholism, right? How did that happen? How did that happen? How did I get there? How does everybody get there? COVID. What else? COVID. So during COVID, we didn't have anything to do. My laptop, I broke it. I spilled ginger ale all over it. So I had been working on this like new comic, the script for it, and then I had to stop because I didn't have a way to work on it. And we didn't have much of anything else. So we had drugs though. So I did a lot of drugs during COVID. And I drank a lot during COVID because it was like socially acceptable to be an alcoholic during COVID. And you know, here's what I was gonna say before. Let's say you're drinking 100 days, and out of those 100 days, when you're an alcoholic, like something really, really bad will happen out of one of those 100 days. But it's only one out of 100. So you convince yourself this is fine and I can keep doing this because I mean, it only happens often where like I accidentally text my ex or I send my butthole to the wrong person, So it kind of becomes this cycle that you get stuck in, or this convincing yourself that you probably don't need help because it's not all the time that you get fucked up. What was my point in saying that? Well, I fucked up. I fucked up big time. Um, I really hurt somebody, and that was the catalyst for me to get sober. I was going really steady with this amazing person, and one night I was asked to sleep over, and I don't do good sleeping next to people. I don't know what that's about. So I brought a huge bottle of vodka, probably the size of my fucking head. And every time they left the room to go use the bathroom or do whatever, I took like 7 shots to the face until I was visibly inebriated, which was, again, the one out of the 100th day where I fucked up. I would even argue that for me, I was such a quote unquote functioning alcoholic that I really had struggles few and far between. And something else that kind of sucked about me that made it like really hard to accept alcoholism was that I was not a violent drunk. I was a really happy drunk. As a matter of fact, I was very happy or slightly melancholic, but I was never violent. I never caused fights. I never really did anything too crazy outside of like goon for 2 hours straight because Lord knows that alcoholism fucks up your libido. And so for a while, like my family, my friends, my everybody kind of was, I don't want to say okay with me drinking, but it was like he's harmless. And also, I think nobody really knows the extent of your tendencies outside of you, or unless you're being completely transparent. And when you're out at the club, you're not going to have a conversation about, this is actually my 500th day streak of drinking alcohol. And every single day I wake up at 4 a.m. Because what is it called? My rhythm, Acadian rhythm, it's fucked up from the abuse. I don't know what that word is, but you know, shit gets broke. And so I hurt somebody. This person that I was talking to, they come back. I'm very visibly fucked up. I'm twisted. And I remember they asked me if I pissed on their floor. And it was crazy because I always had two rules for myself, which was don't black out and don't throw up. So every time I went out to drink, which was every single day, or every time I drank at all, those were my two rules. Do what thou wilt, but don't black out and do not throw up. And it was crazy because when they left the room and I took those 5 shots, I blacked out for probably about 3 minutes. And then for whatever reason, when they came back, I came to. And all hell broke loose. I don't really want to get into details here, but they were very patient with a drunk ass Elthedevil. They were hurt, they were scared, and I would learn that it was because they had some very awful, traumatizing situations regarding alcohol in their life as well, which would all be revealed when me and this person sat down and had a conversation about what I had done to them, which was just be dishonest. I didn't tell them that I was coming with a bottle of vodka. I just went into their crib, and after what seemed to be a really normal, great night and a good day, I got fucking plastered. Because of why? Because I was scared I wouldn't be able to sleep next to this person because I have sleeping issues. And instead of fucking doing anything else, I got plastered and traumatized them in their own home, which I think is very disrespectful, to be honest with you. And so that was kind of that. And they were so patient with me. And I'm very thankful because throughout their pain and anxiety, there was always the constant, like, you're not alone. I know what this is. I know the demon that addiction is. I will always be here for you if you need anything. But this romantic thing that we had going for us is clearly over. And in that last conversation I had face to face with this person, they said something that really triggered the shit out of me. Um, which was they're kind of looking at and good, because I think sometimes you need to get a little fucking triggered in order to do something or make a change, like they always say that you grow the most through discomfort and turmoil. And so we had talked about a plethora of things. I said something so terrible to them that night that I got twisted, which was disturbing for them and a fucking face palm for me because what I said to them was, I like to drink and I like to lie. Are you serious? I wish that I was a liar, like a serious liar. I'd be lying about like bullshit, trivial shit, especially to strangers, like people I don't know. Because why the fuck are you asking me where I'm from or where I live? Yeah, I'm from fucking Timbuktu, as a matter of fact. The fuck? What do you want next? My credit card information? Girl, fuck you. So I lie like that, but like outside of that, I don't really lie. Um, if it's people that I'm gonna see on a day to day, I don't really be lying. So I don't know why the fuck I said something so terrible to the point where this person's friends were like, don't go see him. Don't go have that closure conversation with him. And fuck that guy too. Wow. So what they said to me that really fucked me up and that was triggering was they said, you know, last night or the night that we last spent together, you were talking about this comic that you did in high school about incest, but not a celebration or glamorization of incest, more like a thesis on what happens to children in homes who are neglected or not watched closely, that also go through traumatic things in said household and have nowhere else to go to or no one else to talk to. And so things get really weird between children. And, she said, you were telling me about all this. And I was thinking about how I don't like people very often. And I was thinking about how I like you and how incredibly talented you are, and it just feels like a waste because you're an alcoholic. And I took that personally. I did not like hearing that shit. I was crying. I was angry. It stung. It hurt really, really bad. It hurt my ego really, really bad, but I needed it. Like I needed to hear that. I needed to hear it. So this person again, despite the fact that whatever romantically was over, was so long suffering, a stranger. And reminding me I'm here for you, whatever you need throughout this process. And I said, I'm going to go to outpatient rehab. I don't want to do it, to be honest. And I told my therapist I don't want to do it. But at the same time, like, it's been 5 years of this, and actually a life of addiction, I would say. And I was like, so I'm gonna try. I told my therapist I'm gonna try because I never did anything before. And I think another thing for me that was big was that, like, as an alcoholic, I didn't really care that I was killing myself, to be honest with you. Like, that was kind of the point. I didn't care that I was killing myself. I didn't care that I was hurting myself. There was some fear that I'd have, like when I'd go on TikTok at like 3 in the morning and see those fucked up videos of like the 50-year-old alcoholics like this because they literally need a drink and then calming down when they had their drink. Like, that shit would scare me, but I don't think it scared me enough because I kept drinking. Um, and so, you know, the difference this time was that I really hurt somebody. And it's not like it was the first time that I've hurt somebody and the direct result was like me being a drunk dumbass? But it was just too much. Like, how how traumatizing it was for them. What they had told me was their experience with alcohol. It was just like truly a lot of despair. And so I think that's where I crossed the line, ironically, was like that I hurt somebody so bad, and somebody who liked me because, you know, I feel like that sucks too. I mentioned that I feel like a robot. Yeah, I be feeling like a robot. Like, I have like no romantic interest or care for anybody outside of literally Craig Boone. So it's like, to actually like somebody and then have them do that to you in their crib, I could understand why this person was so upset and disappointed. And then it's also why I was so upset and disappointed with myself, because it's like so many days have passed where I think that could have been something really beautiful, and I fumbled it. I fumbled it. I fucking soiled it. But, later on we're going to talk a little bit about like self-hatred versus self-love. And for now, I guess we'll just stay on this path. I went to outpatient rehab. I highly recommend it for anybody who feels as though they need support in times like these. And something that I was told at outpatient rehab was that I have a lot of good foundation, which is true. My family, they love me. My mom is my number one supporter. So I'm going to show you guys something. I guess I'll bring my iPad real quick. This is how supportive my mom is. My mom is so supportive of me and all of my endeavors and all of my passions, to the point of which I got scared. I thought I was getting raptured. To the point of which, for Christmas a couple years back, or like the year that I got sober, so 2 years ago for Christmas, 2 Christmases ago, she bought me this. Inside is my testosterone needles, so I hope that this doesn't get flagged or anything. But this huge Kirkland bottle of vodka, from Sunday to Sunday, I finished it. I totaled it, and my mom got it for me for Christmas, because she loves me, and she knew that I loved alcohol. And the same support in that sense was the same support of which, the day I told her I'm going to outpatient rehab, and she looked at me and she said, "What do you need from me? Do you need me to get rid of all the alcohol in my house? What do you need? Whatever you need, I'm here for you." And so I have a lot of really good things that have helped me through sobriety, which I think I'm privileged to have. Not a lot of people can say that they have. And it's like so understanding as to why people fall into drug and alcohol abuse. Like, it's a painful ass absurd existence. And um I would not have been able to get sober, I don't think, if not only for my support system, but also the people in outpatient rehab. But also, I understand why it's so important for alcoholics and addicts in general to kind of stay in these groups and cliques, because if you feel as though you don't have anybody in your personal life, or if you straight up don't, then where is that constant stream of support and that constant stream of accountability that, again, I've been privileged and lucky to have, since getting sober, before getting sober, basically my whole life. And so even though I'm trying to give myself a lot of credit for the sobriety, because nobody forced me to go to outpatient rehab, nobody forced me to get sober. Like, that was of my own volition. But if you know me, I don't really be doing things half-assed. I go all the way. But I would not have been able to do it without the love and support in my life, my friends, my family. It was never a question of, are you sure sobriety is a good idea or what? It was always whatever you need, bro. Um, and so here we are a year later, and something that's helped me a lot throughout my sobriety: pick up a hobby if you can. I hate that. It sounds so gay. Like, pick up a hobby. But it's true. Idle's hands are the devil's playground. And I love putting shit in my mouth. I love using my hands to do stuff. So alcohol was that outlet for me. And then I started drawing a lot. You know, it's weird. It's like slowly like planting the seeds that would grow into what my life is a year later. But before I got sober, I started working on the Mr. Bitches comic. And if you don't know, Mr. Bitches is my Fallout New Vegas courier six who got shot in the head. And after that, he became like, well, he's always been an alcoholic, but his tendencies got worse, drinking excessively to cope with the pain from the head trauma. And he also has a chronic masturbation illness because some wires got fucked up when he got shot in the head up there. So I made him, and people loved him. And then I kind of like kept going with him. And again, he was a silly alcoholic guy. And like, after some time passed, I was like, damn, there needs to be like conflict in the story or something. There were a couple months of like me just writing out the adventures of like Boone and Mr. Bitches. And I was like, I wonder what they would beef about. And then this sounds kind of fucked up. It's like you used me for land development. That person that I was talking to that I traumatized, I'm not gonna lie, there were some cogs that started turning into my head of like breaking people's trust and like hurting people, and addiction being the direct result of that. And so what Mr. Bitches ended up being was exact replica of a lot of the shit that I went through whilst getting sober, a lot of my raw thoughts while I was in that process, while I was in outpatient rehab, before I even put the bottle down, because I was in IOP for a whole ass month before I stopped drinking for real, for real. So, that story ended up helping me not only like to have a place where I could unfiltered express this, what a journey sobriety has been, but also keeping my hands busy, keeping my fucking hands busy, girl. Because what started off as like a shitpost comic, and you could see the earlier Mr. Bitches comics, they're very bare bones, just ended up being this crazy, intricate piece and project and passion project and personal project. Um, regarding what ends up being sobriety, because that's what ends up being the conflict between Boone and Mr. Bitches, is that Mr. B, you know, got a little too turnt and just made a bad situation even worse. So, yeah, I remember like being in excessive turmoil because of what I did to that poor girl, but then thinking to myself, like, well, we found it. Like, you've been wondering what a conflict would be and what it would look like. This is what the conflict would be and what it would look like. And then, boom, right in the script, right in the script. And I think this time last year, I was working on the scripts that I'm like releasing now, if that makes sense. So time is a bitch. It doesn't make any sense. I blinked and this week was gone. I blinked and last week was gone. At this rate, as scary as this sounds, I'm gonna look the other way and be 80. Like, it just keeps going by so fast. I don't really know what to do about it. I turned 28 in like 5 months. When did that fucking happen? I'm pushing 30 and I don't know how to drive a car. I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no man. I ain't got no woman. Like, which honestly, I think it's great. I love my life right now. I wouldn't change it for the world. So that's another thing that happened this year. After I got sober, I stopped spending money. I stopped going out. I stopped going to bars because they tell you at the beginning stages of outpatient rehab or any kind of rehab, don't go to bars, don't go to clubs, don't go anywhere that includes drinking. So it became my excuse, a very valid excuse to like stay home and draw. But staying home and drawing was my safety. Keeping my hands busy in that sense was my safety. And there were a lot of times that even family cookouts, I'd be like, I can't go to this one. I'm anxious today. And if I'm around other people who are casually drinking, it's just not going to work out for me. And again, God bless my beautiful, supportive family who never put pressure on me and never did anything other than be supportive. They never did anything other than be supportive of me. And they're so funny because, like, I remember one time, like, I think my first or second month of getting sober, we were at a Mexican restaurant. There's signs everywhere that was like, Corona and drink all your troubles away. Have another drink. And, like, all of them were drinking. And then at some point, my mom was like, Nini, like, do you want to tell them? And I was like, I'm a month sober. And they were all like, oh my God, we're so proud of you. All while drinking. But they were like, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. That's so good. And again, it's like, that's sometimes where I feel like I have so much privilege because people fall into these like habits and these cycles of addiction because they feel like they don't have anybody to run to. Number one, they feel like that and it's the devil putting thoughts into their heads. But number two, there really are some people in this world who are alone for one reason or another. And so something I heard earlier this year that resonated with me so heavily or that I fuck with so heavily was that there's this guy that I follow. His name is Brian. I talk about him on another LOL podcast episode. And he says that, you know, what they teach you in Dare doesn't work. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Okay, why not? Drugs are the most pleasurable substances that a human can get their hands on. And that's why they become addictive. And also, why do we crave them? Because we're living in a strange, uncomfortable, absurd existence. And so, through these substances, what do you find? You find inebriation. You find comfort through that inebriation. You find disassociating as a direct result of the inebriation that you're experiencing from this pleasurable drug that's giving you a high or giving you a buzz. So it's like we need to escape. And I don't blame people. Like when I first started IOP, I got so triggered. Like I think my second session because I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like I'm not like you people. It was all like older people with going through divorce and on their 50 who had to be there. I was like, I don't need to be here. And they all talked me down from the cliff, but what triggered me was the why. um you know well, we have to dig deep and find out why. And they say it in a lot more of a compassionate way, but I just hated that question because it's like, why not? Like, why not be fucking addicted to something? Like, why fucking not? I look back at my life and I think about the pain and I think about the rape and I think about the fucking confusion and I think about how lost I've been, at certain points. And it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the craziest thing is there are people who go through worse than what I've been through. So why aren't we all alcoholics? This was my thought when going into outpatient rehab. And even the concept of a life of sobriety just didn't make any sense to me, which a lot of the things that I'm saying are just shit that I fucking put word from word in the diary of Mr. Bitches, you know? Like, and so this was shit that used to trigger me because I was vulnerable and I was at the beginning of things and I had a lot to learn. But, you know, you learn that there's a lot of people who go through a lot of bad things who maybe were addicted, but then they stopped through the help of resources, et cetera, et cetera. But you find that there are some people who have been through awful things and they haven't picked up a drink a day in their life because of the things that they've seen and they've experienced. And my dad is an example of that because he grew up with my grandpa was a heroin addict and an alcoholic. So what did that create? It created a dude who didn't want any part in that because of the traumatic things that he grew up seeing. And I'm lucky for that too. That fucking one of my number one like rocks in sobriety has always been my father because in jiu-jitsu classes he's always preaching that shit. So whatever. I don't want to get like too off topic or off point here. I think there's one more thing that I really wanted to touch upon, and it's that I'm understanding something lately that I feel is vital for a lot of us to come together and try to fit into our brains. And I'm still figuring it out. I'm still working this one out. So you're going to have to bear with me, however I say it. But there is like this thing that happens where people will grow and do better and get better. And I'm supposed to make a video on Scotty K Fitness. Please, somebody hold me fucking accountable. Again, I'm having a hard time with this channel. I recorded that video like 4 times, deleted every single time, worked on a like 8-page script that I'm just waiting to record. I don't know what's stopping me. I don't know. But in that video, there's going to be a segment where I talk about my fatigue with people saying that they didn't know what empathy was in the past. And that, oh, I turned 30 and I learned what empathy was, or my frontal lobe development, came in and I learned what empathy was. I didn't know what empathy was back in the day. Bullshit. What is that? Look, I didn't know what it was, but I was smelling it. I'm crazy. That's bullshit. I think most people, unless you're like a sociopath like Hassan Piker, where you like come into this world with zero emotions, I think like most people, so half the people are empathetic or have felt feelings of empathy. I think the only thing is that as you get older, you learn that there are consequences to your actions. And you especially learn that in your early 20s because you're kind of like free to bug the fuck out. Um, but at the same time you're growing like so immensely, so comes that time period where from ages 17 to 23 you're off the hook. And so there's this notion that you didn't know what empathy was. No, you just learned the consequences of your actions. But I'm sure that while you were doing all that crazy shit, while I was wilding out back in the day, like there was still a lot of positive interactions that I had with people. I'm reminded of my friend Burke. He was a deaf man in Florida, and I'm getting off topic. I defended a deaf man. I was running around like a sociopath back then, but I cursed some dude out because my deaf friend was getting made fun of right in front of me. And so somebody who lacks empathy or doesn't know what empathy is doesn't do some shit like that. The only difference between early 20s and late 20s is that you grow. But to say that you didn't know what empathy was until recently is to severely diminish who you were in those vital times of growth. So this is what I see is that people diminish and infantilize the person that they were in the past. But that doesn't do anything good because the person that you were in the past is who you are today. It's a different version of you who knew less, yes. But to hate that person is counterproductive, especially when it comes to trying to be on the path of healing and self betterment. When you see that person in the past who was hurt, who was spiraling, who was crashing the fuck out because they didn't know what to do with the pain and the terror or whatever it was that was experienced, it's not wise to say fuck that person. That person didn't know what empathy was. I hate the person that I used to be. No, no, no. You have it all wrong. The only thing that that person needs is understanding and compassion and a big fucking hug. And I think that this is what's missing a lot when it comes to growth and growing as a person and to truly, genuinely, and sincerely getting better. Because if you hate yourself, any version of yourself, you are not going to grow. You are not going to grow. Um, So take notes. Remember that. You have to love every single version of yourself if you want to get better. It can't be, I'm better now, I'm good, fuck the person I used to be, fuck that guy. No, it can't be. It has to be compassion and loving and understanding for why you were doing the shit that you were doing and why you were in the pain that you were in and how that was a direct result um, into your actions and the consequences of your actions. I think honestly the world would be so much better if we start there. But we're learning, all of us, you know. And so I don't hate myself. I think through sobriety, I've learned a crazy amount of self love. I've truly learned what that was because even as I've gotten older and more confident and more comfortable in my own skin, I feel like I didn't really know what self love was for real up until recently. Like being able to say, hey, I like myself. I think that that's something only within the last year on this journey of sobriety has been something that I've been able to say. And you know what? There's still days where sometimes I wake up and I feel like I don't like myself or I feel like I don't like people, and I realize it's a reflection. I don't like myself today, so I don't like anybody else today. Um, but I could confidently tell you that I feel like all the boxes are being checked off when it comes to me and my journey of self love and accepting myself. But you know what that comes with is even though I was bugging out, I was a crazy ass alcoholic doing God knows what, running the fucking streets of New York City, fucking here and there, and fucking, you know, my 500 boyfriends and my 600 girlfriends. Like, I, I love me. Like, I loved me back then too. I have some kind of affinity for Alcoholic L because I know that he was just lost and confused and hurt, honestly, seriously hurt, and just trying to find his way and self-medicating, you know. And I was the same, like, funny ass, wild ass, creative ass motherfucker. I think the only difference was that I was self-numbing a lot of the time, and so all the things that I was back then, I feel like I'm able to be so much more now that I have found comfortability in my sobriety. Like, to be able to be comical and also be in the moment. Wow. To see the reactions, wow. To, you know, be connected with people, because when I got sober, I was like, fuck, like I love that I would like go to bars and meet people and like connect with people like that. Well, guess what? Now I'm actually remembering those fucking interactions. I'm still going out here and doing it, wouldn't you know? But now I'm actually fucking remembering these conversations because I'm not piss drunk off of 17 beers. Um, so that's beautiful. And again, I don't hate L from the past. I don't hate him. I don't hate him for what he did to that girl that night, traumatizing her in her own crib. I don't hate him for whatever fucking crazy antics he got up to, bro. He was fucking hurt and he was figuring his shit out. And I would never treat another person that way where I'm saying that I hate them or I'm looking down upon them because of decisions that they made in a vulnerable place or under the influence or whatever, whatever. So it's like, why would I treat myself that way? I wouldn't. And it's counterproductive to growth and it's counterproductive to healing and getting better, you know? So what's the point, man? Never would have thought that I would have gotten sober. I started outpatient rehab talking about I hope that this shit is over by the time it's my birthday because I'm trying to get lit. And a year later, I'm not out here spending money. I'm not out here doing whatever. I have my own fucking apartment. What the fuck? What the fuck does that even mean? Because I'm not going to bars and spending like fucking $500 a week going to bars almost every single night. Like, what the fuck? Um, I am so loved. I am so blessed. I went to Vegas. Diary of Mr. Bitches is going up. Fuck the numbers, fuck the views. Like, the people who are here, and some of the most intelligent, kind-hearted people, and that's all that I could fucking ask for because that's all that's ever surrounded me. And you know something? I used to think I was cursed when I was in my early 20s, like 21, 22. I have some really dark, crazy diary entries of really fucked up shit. And I used to think that I was cursed and that my family was cursed. And now I can never imagine that because all it feels like is blessings. All it feels like there's, like the Lord is watching over me right there with a steady hand, guiding me down the right path. And I'm just so lucky to be alive, man. And it could have easily gone any other way. I could have still been drinking. I could have gotten into worse shit. Who knows? But I'm very thankful for my mind and for my life. And without Elle in the past, I wouldn't be Elle today. So I'm really thankful for that crazy ass motherfucker who's out here in the bars getting crunk and getting lit and getting crazy. Um, and I just hope and I pray. Sometimes I feel a bit of that imposter syndrome. There are people who don't think that they're worth it or don't think that they're worth sobriety. You're so worth it, dude. They say you're not the center of the earth. You are. You're the center of your earth. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to put yourself first and you have to do what's right for yourself. And so, wrapping this up, if I cannot recommend enough outpatient rehab, something like that. I think some people are dicey with AA because apparently it's like based in Catholicism. Your God is your God. Whatever that is to get you through the day and for you to give thanks for, you hold on to that. And whether it's AA or something intense like outpatient rehab or rehab itself, I cannot recommend it enough. Those were beautiful people that I got to know that every single night before logging off, we would be telling each other, I love you, have a good night, I love you. Strangers that I'd never been in the same room with, but because we shared this bond and this understanding of what addiction was and how it affected all of us similarly, we loved each other. So I think that kind of partnership is really, really important when it comes to getting sober. Um, and I don't know, man. Life is good. Life is really good. And I can only hope that it gets that way for other people. Um, I'm rooting for you. You, everyone. I'm rooting for everyone. I guess that's all I really have to say. I could sit here and talk about things for hours and hours, but I think this is good. I think this is really good. And I think I'm actually going to upload this. So I'll see you guys in a couple days or whenever I see you. I'll probably be posting some journal entries, some holotapes soon. And then after I'm done with the Diary of Mr. Bitches, hopefully soon, I will be uploading a bunch of YouTube videos that I have just like on the back burner. Me and my mom went to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was a really cute vlog. I have an interview that I did with my dad that I've just been sitting on for a while now because it's actually a really large file and I'm scared my laptop is going to explode. Um, but that's one that I definitely should be editing. And then I have to work on the Scotty K Fitness video. I think it's going to be uncomfortable, but I think it's going to be shit that everybody needs to hear. Maybe I'm not that important, but I could pretend. So, yeah, man, life is short. Do the best that you can with what you have. Try to get better. If not only for the people around you, also for yourself. And sometimes it's the people around you who jumpstart that. But you just have to keep the flame burning. If self betterment is kind of what you're looking for, I think all of us should be looking for that at all times, to be honest. But harder for some people versus others. Anyways, things would make a lot more sense if we all realize that the love within is the most powerful love that we could carry. And once we have that, we're capable of loving most other humans on this planet. So be good and do good. Woot woot, 1 year of sobriety. I don't miss being an alcoholic. I do not fucking miss it. And so here's to many more years of more life and more sobriety. And I'm here if you need anything. Please reach out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.